that? Do you feel like it's healthy to never cry, or to never show emotion? Yeah, it's like toxic. I'm getting there. Toxic masculinity is literally affecting that because it's saying like, oh yeah, you should have all of these masculine attributes, but then you should also be a robot and not cry, or you should be very stoic and not express your emotions.
But then someone might beg to differ and say,
yeah, go on, hit me.
If a man does, then is crying all the time.
Yeah.
And then is showing emotion. That's a kind of a sign of weakness.
Bro, I never saw any of my uncles, cousins, anyone cry, bro. Like no emotion or not. Very stoic in it. So I never really saw that.
Being able to regulate yourself, being able to regulate your emotions in different situations. Personally, do you think there's a generation of weak men?
What, like now?
Yeah.
Yo, welcome back to PBS, powered by Scripture. Yes, back again for another episode with your boy David, aka Dabs, aka DB Fitness. Come on.
Welcome back to PBS. You got your boy Ignatious or Iggs. Let's get started without further ado. Here's PBS, where we chop up different topics, discussions through the lens of Scripture.
Hey, come on. Yeah, bro, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. The sun's shining today. Feeling good today, my brother.
It's nice.
How you doing?
Okay. So, yeah, I'm alright, bro. I'm alright, bro. I'm blessed, bro.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
That's good, man. That's good. So, yeah, this episode, we're going to be talking about, this is going to be a juicy, interesting topic.
Be a nice, juicy
So, we're going to be talking all about, what toxic masculinity means.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. What it means, do you know what I mean? The effects of it. So we're just going to be chopping it up, dissecting it, coming with our own personal opinions, coming to you with hard facts and research, because that's how we like to do it, as well as coming with scriptures always as well. Yeah, my brother. I feel like, I think we need to start off by like defining, innit, what it means. I think like toxic masculinity. So like I got this definition. So this is from Very Well Mind, and it defines toxic masculinity as, so it refers to the notion that some people's idea of manliness perpetuates domination, homophobia and aggression. Toxic masculinity involves cultural pressures for men to behave in a certain way, and it's likely this affects all boys and men in some fashion. So that's the definition from Very Well Mind. So by the end of this episode, I will learn how to say that phrase properly.
So from my understanding, from that definition, is obviously, before defining toxic masculinity, it's important to know what masculinity is. So, which is obviously the attributes and characteristics that are attributed to being a man, essentially.
Okay, I hear that. Because before you can now talk about something being toxic, you need to describe the foundation first.
Exactly. So now, when you add toxic masculinity, which is now a term that's being widely used now, it's then you get to understand. Okay, those are the negative kind of traits and characteristics.
I hear you. So how would you define masculinity then?
Yeah, masculinity, like I just said, like attributes and characteristics that are attributable to being a man, essentially. So, like, let's say, for example, if I was to even ask, like, obviously, what year are you teaching?
Year 4.
Year 4. Let's say you was to ask the year 4s and a random one, like, what does it mean to be a man? Like, what kind of phrases do you think they would say? Just on the top of your...
That's a good question. I'd say like maybe strong. Like fearless, someone that's fearless, courageous.
So these are some of the terms that they would use, isn't it?
Those sort of adjectives,
But now, now we're talking about being the phrase toxic masculinity now, it begs to differ that, the toxic has been added there. And that's obviously now having an effect.
Would imply that it's a bad thing.
Yeah. So then maybe you
using the word toxic.
Yeah. So those are maybe the negative now characteristics associated with being a man. So you could have just aggression. Because, but then would you argue that aggression is needed for
No, I get where you're going with it. Yeah, because like
to be a man.
Yeah. Because I feel like. So this is this is literally my perspective. No one quote me. This is my opinion. Do you know what I mean? I'm not using scripture. This is my opinion, my brother.
Yeah.
But I feel like in order to like be a man, you do sort of like need a level of. It's a techie one to explain. I don't mean that you have to now go around being aggressive to everyone, but you need to carry yourself in. Do you know what I mean? In a certain way, like be confident. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is, for me, like people that I've looked at, right? Like I didn't grow up like with a dad, but like uncles, do you know what I mean? Cousins, right? That I had that were older than me, they always carried themselves in a certain type of way, like just bossy, calm. But you just know as well, they just had a certain aura, that word about it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? But then at the same
time,
what
was it about that made him have that aura? Because let's talk about our experience.
Because it's also like basically like like. Obviously growing up like in school and stuff like that, there's certain people who are just like, you're gonna try and take this man for a joke, man. And you get me? Because he might move aggressive or get sticky, or they're gonna say something back straight away. Do you know what I mean? They're on smoke basically. Yeah. So that's how I feel like obviously a lot of like the male figures in my life that I saw growing up had that sort of like aggression. Do you know what I mean? And
how would you say that's kind of shaped you from seeing that around you, the males around you? How would you say that's kind of shaped to the person that you are right now?
That's a good question, because even like in high school, like for example as well, like because obviously like this high school that I went to high school in Luton and stuff, and it was like it was quite smoky, so like everyone was sort of, you had to basically make sure you was on job, so you didn't get victimized and all these kind of things and stuff like that. So you almost like felt yourself like being like quite on edge, like you had to, do you know what I mean, like hold yourself like in a certain way. So I feel like, just to go back to what you were saying, I've realized that sometimes now in my adult life I can just be like very quick or like very defensive now. Do you know what I mean? Like someone might now say something and then I'll be like really defensive straight away. Doesn't mean like someone says something to me I'm gonna turn around and just want to punch him in the face or something. But I feel like it's more like being defensive, like more verbally, I guess I would say. Do you know what I mean? But I just wanted to go back to, because obviously you said as well, like, you asked me how I would define masculinity. Yeah, so like how I would define it, like now. So how I would define it now is somebody who provides, someone who can lead, someone that is courageous, which means that doesn't mean that they're not scared of anything, but they still would do anything regardless of whether it's scary. So yeah, I would say those things, and I would also say as well like a certain level of aggression.
Because think about it, women don't really want a guy that's not really gonna be a protector. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, protector as well. Yeah, that's another big one.
Yeah,
and I feel like that comes with a certain level of aggression.
Of aggression.
Do you know what I mean? A certain level. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying now you're out here. Do you know what I mean? Yo, bruv, who wants to fight me? Like you're going. Do you know what I mean? You're on smoke all the time. Do you get what I mean? But it's a certain level. Like, do you know what I mean? Like for example, let's say now someone now just tried to say something to your missus or something like that, or to mumsy or something. You just be like, hang on a second, quite frankly, like don't talk to that person like this, X, Y, and Z. Firm, like somebody could look at that and say that's aggressive, but do you know what I mean? That's like almost in a protective way. So I don't want people to get it twisted. I'm saying, you need to be aggressive, but I feel like you need a certain level of aggression in order to be like a protector. So that's how I personally would describe masculinity and being masculine. But I also feel like on the other side of things that you can still be masculine in all of those aspects, but then still like be able to cry, be able to express your emotions and all these kind of things. And that's where I feel like toxic I'm getting there, toxic masculinity is literally affecting that. because it's saying like, oh yeah, you should have all of these masculine attributes, but then you should also be a robot and not cry, or you should be very stoic and not express your emotions. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like on the other side,
but then someone might beg to differ and say,
yeah, go on, hit me.
If a man does, then is crying all the time.
Yeah.
And then it's showing emotion. That's a kind of a sign of weakness. Mm-hmm. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's why I feel like, and that feeds into. Is that your opinion?
No. So let me just talk.
Or you're doing devil's advocate.
Yeah. So let me just talk about a little bit about obviously the way I grew up. The way I grew up with around a lot of males. So my brothers, my cousins. Yeah. So I just grew up kind of like, these times you just gotta pattern up, man up, and all of these terms that you're kind of used kind of loosely in it, and you just kind of knew what it meant. That you just gotta just stand your ground. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't. That's just the way that I was raised in Zimbabwe, innit? So
okay,
yeah. So that was the kind of culture. It's a cultural thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So men are not meant to show any weakness. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not. It's kind of far-fetched to men to cry and all of that. So that's kind of shaped the way I view kind of the way I am really. So I will never really show weakness because it's kind of like a conditioning.
Yeah.
You know
Okay, no, I hear what you mean.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get twisted. Like the reason why I'm saying like I feel like a man should be able to show their emotions is because now I'm a bit more aware now and conscious. But I had like a very similar upbringing to you as well. Like coming from like a majority Nigerian household and that. Like, bro, I never saw any of my uncles, cousins, anyone cry, bro. Like no emotion or not. Very stoic innit. So I never really saw that. But I'm just saying like now that obviously being a lot older and stuff, I understand that it's okay to maybe show like those emotions and stuff like that. I feel like personally, but I'm 100% with you as well, bro. Like I didn't see like, I don't know, did you see like any of your male figures or anything like that, like proper show emotion?
Not really. From my brother to my cousin to all the people around me, no one really showed like weakness. Because obviously the way I say weakness, why I'm saying weakness is crying was shown as a gesture of like showing weakness.
Weakness,
you know what I'm saying? But so I never really kind of thought about that. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the reality how I've kind of developed as a man. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so question for you then: do you think that's healthy?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, like do you think that's healthy, right? To like never ever show any sign of weakness. Actually, let me not even say that. Do you feel like it's healthy to never cry, or to never show emotion? Yeah, essentially.
I feel like.
Or do you think it's necessary sometimes? Or do you think it's necessary?
That's a very good question because you gotta balance it in it. Like from those, obviously you're not gonna then start showing weakness to everyone. You're gonna have your close people that you feel secure with to show emotion. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you feel like you're in a safe environment, you're then able to show emotion. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's how I feel, because otherwise you're gonna suppress a lot of emotion and feelings, and that could be detrimental.
That come out in a negative way now, bro.
Yeah. So and that could show as in you literally be angry now. Yeah. And over aggressive.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not just aggressive as protecting. Now you're being aggressive and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%, bro, 100%. Because I was literally gonna say that as well. Like if you're not careful, you suppress those emotions. They'll come out in another way, shape, or form, and that could be violence as well. Like
that could be violence. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, how do we now sort of deal with these difficult emotions? Because like men and women, we both like have these emotions, and that could be difficult emotions. We all experience sadness, anger, all of these emotions. But I feel like a woman would be more likely to just, they might call their girls and that, have a little conversation, have a little cry on the phone and that. But come on, man, they're not really there. I'm not going to start calling you, call the man them and that. I'll be like, oh, this upset me and that.
Yeah,
I start crying down the phone and that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But however, like, that's why I said, like, find environment where you're safe, when you're secure, and then you can express those emotions. Do you know what I'm saying?
And again, I like what you said as well about a balance, because I agree with you so much as well, bro, because it's like, I don't feel like you should never show your emotion, but I don't feel like you should always do it as well. You can't be crying about every little thing. Yeah. For me personally, I feel like you can't be crying about every little thing that happens, or be like hypersensitive. But I feel like you also need to be able to be like more in tune and like in touch with your emotions and stuff.
Because emotional intelligence is a strength. Having,
what do you define as emotional intelligence?
Well,
so when you say emotional intelligence,
I think for me, this is my definition. Being able to regulate yourself, being able to regulate your emotions in different situations. That's how I would define it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So knowing where to show emotion and sympathy and empathy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Knowing where to be protective and courageous and brave. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that then we would then go into, and let me flip that question on you. How would you kind of would say define emotional intelligence?
Bro, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there, to be fair. Like being able to like emotionally regulate yourself for like certain situations and being aware of your own emotions and someone else's as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like if you're too robotic and you're not in tune with your emotions at all, you can't really connect with people. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, for example, you might have now been in a relationship, a romantic relationship and stuff, but then when someone or like your missus might, for example, tell you that, something is really, really bothering them, like something is really like bothering them or they're going through a situation, if you're not able to sympathize with them, then you can't sort of have that connection now. You can't kind of really be there for them.
You're kind of out of touch.
Yeah, you kind of just be, let's be honest, you kind of be dismissive and that. And I can't lie, like before I did like the inner work on myself, that's how I used to kind of be. I used to be like with like maybe in romantic relationships and stuff like that. Or just like with girls in the past and stuff. Or just be like, oh yeah, but it's not that deep.
So you kind of throw off.
Dismiss it. But it's like, actually, but how can you ever tell someone else something's not really that deep? Because it might be deep to them. Do you get what I mean? But obviously now I understand that it's about having sympathy. So like, I feel like that's when the emotional intelligence comes into it. Do you get what I mean?
But do you
being
feel
emotionally aware.
But do you feel like society nowadays is kind of like is embracing toxic masculinity? The reason why I say this is like, just a phrase like, just like man up and just be brave and do you get what I'm saying? Pattern up. Do you think it's kind of embracing, that kind of idea of just, those toxic traits?
Do you know what though? I would actually kind of like say, like not as much recently. I would say like that was more like maybe in our parents' generation. I'd feel like it's more toxic and that in terms of like men just had to be this way and couldn't be like any other way. But I feel like now as well there's this whole culture that's coming in now, especially in society, that I feel like they're talking about it a lot more, like in terms of like it's okay for like men to, do you know what I mean,
to show
emotions. I feel like that's sort of now coming into it now. I just feel like that's a good thing, that there's more awareness on it, but at the same time I don't feel like we should put so much stress on it, because then now we'll end up having, I want to be careful. I don't want to say we'll end up having like a weak men in this generation.
Do you I know. Let me ask, let's put that question there.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you think it's a generation of weak men?
What, like now?
Yeah.
I think you'd obviously have to like define, like, do you know what I mean? What you mean by like weak men? Because the way I was even going off there, and I literally thought to myself, I was like, wait a second, but if we're showing all men to like show and be vulnerable and like show emotions and that, do you know what I mean? Like when you look at strong leaders, bro, like I don't know, strong world leaders and stuff like that in the past.
Even now,
Do you really see like them showing much emotion in that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
do you think
think about
it's got some benefits of not showing no emotion? Men to be. Okay, should men to just be ambitious and
but I think I like what you said. No, but
be like soldiers.
Yeah, but I understand. But I like what you said though as well about there's a time and a place though, innit? Do you get what I mean? A time and a place. Like, bro, like for example, you might now be going onto the battlefield, bro. Like, let's think about someone like I don't know, like AJ, for example, boxer. Like, he's going into the ring now. Do you know what I mean? Like, he needs to be war ready. He needs to have his game face on, ready to go into the ring. Do you know what I mean? And
it's competitive environment.
yeah, competitive environment. But then now, like obviously, he might now go into the changing room with his trusted team, or go home and like maybe be more vulnerable with the people around him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
When that's not really.
But
shown
it's not showing. It's not showing everyone that. Do you know what I mean? That side of him.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe it's a time and a place, bro. Like soldiers, before they're gonna go into war and that, bro, they're not. Bruv.
They're gonna be with their families first.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? They might the same person that's now going to kiss their wife now might now be going to war now, going to kill people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's almost like there's a time and a place now, and I feel like strong men are able to know when to not switch off your emotions, but know when to display them and when not to. I feel like that's wisdom, and that's like a key attribute of like what it means to be a man, I would say. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like I think that's wisdom.
I think now in this generation, obviously we're seeing now, because what toxic masculinity can do, it can actually damage men themselves and damage society.
Go on, speak on it.
So having, just having the idea of just what.
So first of all, who would you say someone looks up to, like in this generation? Would you say like someone might like look up to as like a masculine man?
Yeah, let's say for example, if like the younger generation, let's say if they look up to, for example, like Andrew Tate.
Yeah, like Tate,
For he has his own ideas and philosophies of how it is to be a man and what a man should represent and what a man should be doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Which you could take with a pinch of salt, but however, like if like people that do, some young males and even just young adults have role models they have. Do you know what I'm saying? And why? Do you know what I'm saying? Why do they have those certain type of role models? So, for example, Andrew Tate might just say, just hard work, don't show no weakness, be a go-getter, be a protector.
He's got the cars as well. He's got the cars, the money, fame.
Yeah. So
you get me.
Whereas some women may feel like, being a man is because of is shown because of how athletic they are, or how much money they have, or how much things they have around them. Do you know what I'm saying? But is that really what a man is?
I hear that.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear that.
In your opinion?
Yeah, no, I hear that, man, and I feel like it all comes down to as well, like what you define as a man, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you actually define as a man? Like, who are you actually looking up to, like, as a role model? And to be honest with you, like, people like, for example, like Andrew Tate or like anyone sort of, because you know me, I love to watch a lot of interviews, like we both do, innit? Do you know what I mean? I love getting into the mindset of like successful people, but I'll always take like what they say with a pinch of salt and just take my little 2 pence from it. Do you know what I mean? Because like I don't want necessarily agree with everything they're saying, but I feel like you could always take bits of like what loads of like successful males or men might say, and be able to take that and then better your life from it.
Because then again, you don't want to be, just weak and just in your home, not hard working.
Yeah, because
not
like,
providing.
Because one thing that Tate says, is like discipline. Like obviously he says that regardless of how you feel, right? You should always go and work out. You should go to the gym. You should train. But I 100% agree with that. But you know me as well. Like going to like training and stuff is very important to me. But I believe that regardless of how you feel, bro, like you need to go to the gym and train. Like that's good advice. But there's other things
and that's
that I might
characteristics of being a man. That's
discipline. Being disciplined, being able to take action regardless of how you feel. I understand that, but at the same time, I don't agree with all of his philosophies or all of the things that he might say about like men being able to express their emotions. So I might not take that aspect of it, but I'll take something else in regards to like him, being very disciplined, because he's a very disciplined individual. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like. But I feel like I'm a lot older, so I'm able to take that. But like you're saying as well, with younger boys, or let's just say teenagers, if they don't really know themselves, younger generation, if they don't really know themselves, they don't have a strong identity, do you know what I mean? They could, they could literally just follow everything that someone is saying to a T, do you know what I mean? And is that going to be fully detrimental to them?
Yeah, that's true.
So is that going to be fully, what's the word? beneficial to them to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
So
mean?
you're like living vicariously in someone else's life, and actually, instead of actually, you know, taking responsibility and saying, okay, this is my life, this is what I want for my life, this is the characteristics I want to show, so that when I do find a woman that I want to marry, for example, even this generation, do you even think this generation aspire to get married and settle down and have a family, or do you think they try to avoid it like it's some kind of plague? Do you get what I'm saying?
But I think I can't remember. I'm sure I was watching like a podcast or an interview or somewhere. But I'm sure like they were saying in this generation. I'm sure they were saying in this generation like less and less people are getting married and stuff.
Obviously, I don't have the stats.
That's
the stats. Slap on the stats.
Yeah, we'll put it there as well. But yeah, just to add to what you're saying, like I do feel like like less and less people are. Do you know what I mean? Are getting married. But is that because like women aren't being able to find the masculine man that they want, or
maybe females feel like they can handle and be feminist and be dominant.
Yeah, and sort of, and they might not need them. They might not need them.
That's a question. That's not a statement. It's for to throw it out there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like maybe it could be down to a lot of those reasons. But yeah, in answer to your question, I do feel like like less and less people are getting married, but then we'd obviously have to delve into that. You get me?
Maybe
bring stats. Female perspective.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you though, as well, like one thing I'll say, just going back to it, what we're talking about with Tate and like whoever anyone else might look up to as a role model, I feel like it's very dangerous, right, to look up at anyone and just feel like they're the perfect role model because they're a human, bro, which means they're flawed. The same way you're flawed, the same way that I'm flawed, innit? So I feel like you just need to be very careful with that. The only man that was ever perfect that walked this earth was Jesus Christ. Do you know what I mean? So if you want to look at someone that has the perfect example of being a man, look to Jesus. Like read the word. Look how he carried himself. You know, he had followers. People believed in him, but he also wasn't a yes man. He also didn't say yes to everyone and that. He was in what? He was in the church and that, like, do you know what I mean? Flipping tables and that, flipping chairs. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, the point I'm trying to make is that he had all the characteristics, you know, he was able to provide. And I think the greatest one of all of them as well, he was a sacrificial leader. Do you know what I mean? He put his life, he loved the, what's the scripture?
John 15 verse 13.
Yeah. Like he literally loved the world so much that he went and he died for the sins of humanity. So like the way I could take that, bro, is like, bro, like as a man now, when we have our own families, like, do you know what I mean? God willing, we need to now be ready to
self-sacrificial.
Yeah, but we need to be ready to lay down our life for our wife and our kids.
Yeah, because the Bible talks about, you know, value others as more important than yourself.
Yeah, literally.
Do you know what that means? Do you know what I'm saying? Not thinking of your own interests.
Yeah.
And that's one attribute that's not really talked about in society and culture.
As being a leader or being a strong man as well.
Being humble and having
integrity,
and showing love. These are not characteristics that are shown, but these are the foundational characteristics to being a man, in my opinion.
Same here as well. So that's why I just wanted to add into what you were saying. Like, if you want to now see the role model of how to be a man, look at the Bible, look how Jesus carried himself, and you see a perfect example of what it means to be a man. Like, do you know what I mean?
And I feel like it's also important as obviously as young men or young adults. They need to be some kind of accountability around you, because how are you going to display these characteristics that are for one ideal and godly characteristics if you haven't got people that kind of check you, like, you know what, you're moving a bit, you
shouldn't really be doing that, like that one's there is a bit mad.
Iron, so it's like who do you have around you, like who do you look up to that can play an important role in the way you're shaped, or even like, it even goes back to obviously some of the stuff that we spoke about in previous episodes about what you're listening to, who do you look up to, and why? Do you know what I'm saying? And is it not just surface level stuff like what you can see, but
what you can see?
Yeah.
It should be more like to define a strong leader or like a strong man, you should be looking at someone's character, how they are as a person, like you said, on the inside as opposed to on the outside. Because it's like, yeah, someone might have so much money, so much fame, everything like that on the outside, but internally they're a liar. Do you know what I mean? They have no integrity. They're self-absorbed. You know, all of these things.
They have no like anchor.
Anchor, yeah.
So it's like, they just live anyhow.
Yeah, so it's like, for me, I don't look at a person and feel, actually, nah, that's a strong man, even though I probably would have when I was younger. But like now, it's like, no, because my definition of a man comes from, like, it's biblical. It comes from who, you know, Jesus is, you know. So it's like, the whole point I'm trying to make is be like Christ. Don't just follow the crowd. Do you know what I mean? If you feel like there's something wrong that's going on, be a man and stand up for it. Do you know what I mean? Don't just conform to what everyone else is doing. If you know in your heart of hearts that that's a wrong thing, you shouldn't really be doing it. Do you get what I mean? So
with saying that, I mean, just to add on just to what you said, like, it's important to have your own identity. Do you know what I'm saying? Don't always, you know, follow the herd mentality as such. You know, be different. Stand for what you believe in. Do you know what I'm saying?
Don't be afraid to stand out.
Don't be afraid to stand
out. Word.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, have your own beliefs and stick with them. Don't be that one person that sways just because you're in one setting or in another setting. You know, even if it makes you uncomfortable.
Facts.
You know, represent what you believe in. So with saying that, I'm going to ask you one question just to end it off. What 3 characteristics would you say are the most important in being a man?
Ooh.
Yeah.
The 3 characteristics that are important to being a man.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you say?
I would say one of them is being disciplined. Okay. So that's like being able to act. No, being able to take action regardless of how you feel. I think that's so important. Whether that's like going to the gym when you don't want to, whether that's going to work and getting your bread, even on those days when you don't want to, because you have to, innit? As a man, you have to provide
into different areas
of your life. So
financially,
100%, yeah. So 100%, I'd say
physically,
discipline. Yeah, 100%.
Spiritually.
So yeah, disciplined. Second one I would say is discipline. The second one I would say is being able to sacrifice. So being sacrificial, that's a word. Yeah. But you get what I mean though, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, essentially putting others before yourself. Do you get what I mean? Like, not just thinking about yourself, being self-absorbed, putting other people before you. That might be your wife, your family. We spoke about this already. I think that's so important. Like, having that ability to sacrifice your own needs, do you know what I mean, for the betterment of your family or for someone else.
Or someone else, yeah.
Yeah, so 100%, I'd say that as well. So being disciplined, being able to sacrifice. And the third one I'd probably say is being courageous. Okay. Yeah, being courageous. Because I feel like as a man, there's going to be loads of things you don't want to do. Excuse me. Yeah, there's going to be lots of things that you don't want to do, but you're going to have to do it regardless of whether you feel scared or not. Do you know what I mean? Courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the ability to act irrespective of that fear that you're feeling. So it doesn't mean you're not scared, but then you still like act. You still take action. So I feel like as a man, that's very, very important to be courageous. All the great leaders that we know off the top of your head, they've all been courageous at some point in their life. So yeah, I'd say those 3 things. There's a few more I could say as well, but I'd say those 3 things. I'd say,
Those are important.
Yeah, bro.
So what I would say.
What about you? 3 characteristics.
3 characteristics.
That define a man.
I would say being a leader. Being a leader, you gotta lead by example. You gotta demonstrate, you know, leadership skills, whether in your work, amongst your friends. You have to be the head, not the tail. It says that in the word. You know what I'm saying? You have to have qualities that if you believe in something, you know, you stick with it.
You're firm.
You're
Yeah,
firm
you don't
in your
budge.
beliefs, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
you know, we spoke a little bit earlier about that. So, leadership skills are very important in being a man, in my opinion. Being a being a provider, being a provider / protector. Do you get what I'm saying? So, being that provider, being that person that you have that innate kind of drive to want to provide.
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because if you're not
And when you don't feel like it, it
yeah,
doesn't sit right with you.
it doesn't sit right with you. You don't want to be comfortable with not being able to provide. Of course, there might be different seasons. Obviously, in life, you know, we go through different seasons, but that should just be like an innate
drive.
Drive and inner, you know, inside of you to be able to, you know, to you know, provide for your family, provide for the people around you, even just to provide for, you know, people that you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? You know, purpose outside of yourself. You get what I mean? That's number 2. Number 3, I would say love, but then that kind of links in with sacrifice. So the last one I would say is humility.
Humility, okay, yeah.
No one really talks about humility, but being able to, you know, just put others' interests,
humble yourself,
ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Seeing others, helping to lift others.
Links to sacrifice, innit?
Without really being, you know, kind of looking at your self-interest so humility is very important. Humility is actually strength, it's not weakness. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas it might be deemed as weakness, but it's actually strength. You know, the Bible says, you know, humble yourself before the Lord, for He will lift you up in due time. So with saying that, we're going to leave it there.
That's a strong list, though. Strong list, man.
Strong list. To leave it there.
But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. It's been fun as always, chopping out with my brother. So yeah, tune in until next time, where we talk about more topics and we chop up things and chop up different topics through the lens of scripture. So come on, this has been powered by scripture. Come on.